Hi, I'm Dana Robinson, and I'm joined by my wife Shannon today as we're taking a look at WongaMania Banana Economy by Capital Gains Studios. So WongaMania Banana Economy is a game that it seeks to simulate. I mean, it's supposed to be sort of an economics game in a box. The website itself, the studio describes it as almost a learning tool. It's supposed to be educational, so players have to manage their assets and their money and everything, all while the economy sort of continues to change throughout the game. So let's take a quick look at how it actually works. In WongaMania, the players compete to have the most amount of money and assets at the end of the game. The game end is triggered when one player has purchased 3 trust funds. One of the interesting facts about this game is that the cards act both as potential assets, as opportunities, as well as cash. There is a difference between cards in your hand and cards in the bank. The cards in the bank are strictly used as money, whereas the cards in your hand are used for purchasing actions. There are 6 different actions you can do in the game. You can do any 3 of them on your turn. The first is to play an opportunity card from your hand. The second is that you can trade one of the cards from your hand for a card in the free market there from that big deck. The third thing that you can do is you can draw a card from your personal bank. Now the bank money, as I said, is separate, so you get to take an asset, take your money and put it into your hand, and it could be something else. Next thing you can do is you can sell one of the opportunities that you have down in front of you for whatever the cost says on that little wheelie deal there, and that goes, the money from that goes into the bank. The next thing that you can do is buy insurance for if someone plays a nasty, take that card, and then the last thing you can do is you can buy a trust fund. As soon as someone buys 3 trust funds, that triggers the end of the game. You take the last turn and you tally up the points. Now, a pretty pivotal part of this game is the economy tracker in the center there. It's this dial that tells you the phases of the economy, and you can see there's different stages: growth, stagnancy, recession, and recovery, and it goes round and round. One player will roll the die on their turn, and it's always the same person, and they move it that many spaces. Now, what that means is wherever that marker is, you can see at the bottom towards the center, there's 2 numbers, and those numbers tell you how much you can spend, how much you can buy or sell your assets for, your stocks or your properties. The top part tells you how much you get at the beginning of your turn, because at the beginning of your turn you automatically take $2 salary, 2 Wonga for salary. Then you tally up how many resources you have, be that properties, stocks, or bonds, and you add that to your tally. It's possible, depending on the phase of the economy, that you can lose money because you've got property that's worthless or that's losing you money, so it may be a good idea to sell before that happens. Now, there are 3 primary types of assets, opportunities that you can get. The first is stocks, which are pretty volatile. The second are property, which is a similar situation. But then you've got bonds, which always stay the same. They remain the same. They're a little bit expensive, but you can always sell them for the same price, but they will always bring in $1 every single turn. And so there's this balancing act that you have to abide by. Okay, so what did you think about the game's goal of being educational? Do you think it was at all accurate to the way the economy... Oh, I should specify. Shannon and I both work at the same bank. I work in IT, so I reset people's passwords all day. And what do you do?
I'm a credit review specialist, so I look at loans after they have been booked and pretty much re-underwrite them to make sure that we made a good loan.
Very exciting.
Yeah.
So I was kind of excited for us to get a chance to play this because Shannon knows a little bit more about that kind of stuff than I do. So what did you think as far as it being educational at all or accurate to the economy? I mean, it's obviously very simplistic.
Yeah, it's definitely simplified, but it gives a good basic... it's a good basic teaching tool of how the economy works and the cycles that we go through, and especially for this little chart, the benefits of buying in a recession, and everything's going to cost less, and it will eventually get you into recovery. As you start buying more assets, the economy starts to recover, and so it's a neat little, I guess, wheel.
Yeah,
what it's called, to show how that happens. Of going from the recession to recovery to growth to stagnancy and back to recession. So yeah, I think it's a good, and I also like the deck of cards, and I know you're going to talk about them later, but about how there are different events that you could throw at other people, and I think Daniel doesn't like it because he thinks it's too much of luck, but I think it is like life. You never know when something difficult or hard might come your way, and you have to be prepared financially for it.
Yeah, okay, so let's go into quick pros and cons, because you kind of covered a lot of stuff there. I think for me, a pro is the different types of mechanics in this game. After all that being said, would you say it was a difficult game to learn, or?
No, I think it was pretty quick, and we've taught a couple of high schoolers to play it, and they picked it up really quick as well.
Yeah, so it's an easy game to learn, but it has a few different mechanics in there that are not sort of the norm, which was kind of cool. So like one being this wheel that describes, what things are worth and what you can sell them for, what you can buy them for, what they pay out at the beginning of each turn. And I will say we played this on the advanced setting. The setting it suggests, I think, is kind of boring, so we skipped that entirely. So I don't know if you even saw this, but you'll notice that the stock and the housing, it stays stagnant. They're equal each round, and then So as far as that goes, I think it probably would have been a much worse game had we played this way. I'm very glad we went with this one. But just
what's this one?
This is, I think they call it like the advanced setting, which really it was not that difficult and added quite a bit of variability and depth to the game, but still remained pretty simple. I also liked the fact that the cards were both assets and money, so if it was under your bank card, you had to pull it out in order to play it. Like that was one of the actions you had to take, was to pull out of your bank account. So that was kind of cool. It wasn't just, your hand was also your money. There were two separate transactions that you had to go through. So yeah, that was a big con for me. That was a big pro for me. Could you add anything else that you particularly liked about this? The die had bananas.
I beat you both times.
Well, yeah, and that goes into my cons. So some of the things that Shannon was talking about, which was my big con, was things like having a baby or getting into a car accident. There's cards that you can play on players that
it costs them something.
It costs it's that take that element, so you can play it on someone, and it's really pretty rough, especially in a 2-player game. It worked better with a higher player count, but I thought some of those were. And you can buy insurance for them, but not always. But I don't know. I would say there was just a few too many of those. Do you agree or disagree?
I didn't have any awful ones played on me, so I didn't have to deal with them as much. Whereas Daniel had a divorce and then a car accident
in the same turn,
in one turn, so that kind of put him out of the running for the game.
Josh divorced me, and then caused me to get in a car accident.
Yeah. So, but you did attack him first, so it's kind of how... I
set him on a paid vacation first, and he repaid me with the divorce. But yeah, the goal of the game is the first one to get 3 trust funds, depending on which game you're playing. If you can play one version where the first one to 3 automatically wins, or as soon as someone hits 3, you finish out the round and then you score points. Which I think the point system was a much better system as well. Again, the versions of the game that they suggest, I highly recommend just skipping those and going with the advanced settings, which are really not that difficult to learn, and they add a lot more to the game. With that in mind, I don't know. I really liked it a lot more than I was kind of expecting to like it, so I would recommend it.
Yeah, I definitely would. I think it's a great teaching tool, especially for like the high school students that we played with, and just helping them understand how this works and how the economy, the cycles that it goes through. So I think it was kind of cool, and it was neat to see the economy in a game version too.
Yeah, so that was. We play a few games that have economic aspects to them where you're managing your resources. I mean, but this was the whole theme of the game was specifically the economy. It wasn't a portion of it. So that was kind of fun to have a game that was that simple and enjoyable and quick. I mean, it's not like a super long game or anything, but take on the economy as the theme itself. So that was kind of fun too. I like that. The art was kind of cute too. A little weird, but yeah. But I liked it, yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.